What's up, y'all? Welcome to Union Minded. I'm your host, Eric, and today we're going to be talking about an investigative report that was published by NPR about child labor existing in the U.S. in the year 2022. They just discovered this in Alabama, and it was just reported. So the headline reads, "Behind the investigative report on child labor allegations at the Hyundai, Alabama plant." NPR's Michael Martin spoke with Reuters reporter Mika Rosenberg to discuss her team's investigation into allegations of child labor law violations at a Hyundai plant in Alabama. We want to tell you about a shocking new report from the news agency Reuters that kids as young as 12 and 13 have been hired to work at an auto parts plant in Alabama at a place called Smart Alabama LLC. It's a metal stamping shop that is majority owned by Hyundai, the Korean automaker. According to the Reuters report, which was documented by local police, current employees, and family members of some of the youngsters, the plant has employed as many as 50 underage workers to work all shifts at the metal shop, which supplies parts for the vehicles assembled at Hyundai's flagship U.S. plant in Montgomery, Alabama. Many are children of migrants from Central and South America, and the Reuters review of the records noted that the plant has been cited for repeated health and safety violations, including amputation hazards. I always say this, and I'm going to reiterate it here. We have to come to an understanding that these corporations do not care about the working folks that are making them every bit of profit that they make. Because we got to understand also, there's no such thing as profit without labor. Labor comes first. Profit is extracted from labor. And they just want to roll back the way business is done to a pre-labor practices, pre-labor law, pre-unions. Back when we had child labor, they would love more than anything to be able to disregard any kind of regulations and be able to employ children. And if they die, they die. We'll get rid of them. We'll hire some more kids. I'm telling you, there's many of these corporations just do not care about the working people. And we got to come to this understanding because we got to care about each other. And the sense of individualism, like the hyper-individualism that takes place where we're just hyper focused on self, it allows for us to not care and to be apathetic towards our coworkers, people that are working right next to us. It's almost like we're just broken or programmed from so early on that we can't even find the ability to care for each other, and it's sad. But so Mika Rosenberg was part of the reporting team that broke the story, and she went and did an interview, and they spoke about how they came to learn about the story. So I'm going to just skim through this article because it's a pretty long read, but I kind of want to break out some of the specifics, and I'm going to give you that as we go. So Martin, the interviewer, asks about how her team found out this story. So Rosenberg says, "Earlier in the year, my reporting partners and I published a story about a Guatemalan teenager who, shortly arriving to the United States last year, got a job in a chicken processing plant, which is a very big industry in the area of Enterprise, Alabama, where our reporting focused. And, clearly these chicken plants are pretty hazardous places to work. So, through that reporting, we found out it's relatively easy in some cases to get documents, where if you're a minor, you can basically pick an age and say that you were older. So these workers can be very vulnerable to exploitation because they're working without authorization. They're often very hesitant to speak up." And she says, "But once we published the story, we started hearing about kids also in Enterprise, Alabama, who were working in a nearby auto manufacturer that isn't about an hour away. This Smart Alabama plant is in Laverne, which is 40 miles from Enterprise. And we were hearing that some of them were much younger ages than the teenagers that we had written about before. So obviously that caught our attention." So then Martin asks, can you tell us a little bit more about how hiring 12 or 13-year-old can work in this plant? Like, how did they go about doing this? So Rosenberg responds that, a lot of local migrants in the area who might not have legal work documents often find jobs through various staffing agencies. And from speaking to labor experts and workers themselves, we know that these staffing agencies can often have their own lax hiring practices. They often make, sometimes will make minimal checks when hiring. Labor experts said that while these staffing firms are very common throughout the U.S. and in many different industries, sometimes companies can kind of use them as a buffer if there's, unsavory hiring practices. And they can say they didn't know what was going on because the workers came from staffing firms. But we did speak to former workers who were working alongside some of these younger minors and told us that there was no way they looked old enough to work. Even if they might not admit their age, they looked like, you're talking about 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds. That's how young they were. So again, it's a crazy story, and I'm glad NPR was able to, Mika Rosenberg was able to investigate and break the story, and then they reported it to the AG of the Alabama AG, and so hopefully Hyundai or Smart LLC, somebody should pay the price for this type of stuff. But again, it goes back to, we have to come to the understanding that they don't give a F about us. They just don't. And we got to give a F about each other so that we can make this system fairer. It's going to take a whole lot of us standing together on the same side of policy decisions, on the same side of issues with our employers, on the same side of issues that matter, to the point that we build up enough pressure that the ruling class has to relent and has to grant those policy changes. But it ain't going to come without a demand, and the demand has to come from working people. I'm pretty upset finding this out, that there's still child labor going on right under our noses, and it took a reporter to find out. It's flabbergasting. Together we're going to make a difference, and we're going to do something better. That's all I got for you today. My name's Eric again. You're watching Union Minded. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell, and share these videos. Don't forget to drop a comment, and if there's a topic that you might want me to cover, drop it in the comment section, and I'll do my best to cover it. All right, thanks for stopping by. Y'all remember, man, the fight ain't left and right. It never has been. We've been fooled for years. The fight is up and down. It's going to take solidarity to win always. Each one teach one. Get out there and reach one. All right, peace.